Welcome to another Mother Fiction Writers podcast. I'm your host, Stevie, Escapes to Books on Instagram, and I'm here with Autumn from Bookish Journey Reads. I'm so excited. We did a buddy read together, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit more. But first, I'm going to have her introduce herself a little bit.
Okay, so Autumn is actually a pen name that I just chose for Bookstagram. I don't know. I didn't want to use my name.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I started the Bookstagram, I think like at the end of COVID. I think it's like 2021. I started it. I don't even know how I got into it. I just started seeing books and then I just did it. I honestly don't remember how was it that I got the connection to like make a Bookstagram. But I mean, I did it and that's great. And I'm having so much fun. I've met so much people. They're really nice. It's a nice, tight community.
It is.
Yeah. My favorite genres are romantasy.
Okay.
I'm getting into dark romance, not much, but I'm getting into that one. It's a bit, well, of course. And I also like sports romance. Yes. I love hockey romance.
That's getting real big on Bookstagram.
Yeah. It is. I didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be more football.
Okay.
So that is awesome because I really like hockey. I've always wanted to go to a game, but haven't had the opportunity yet.
They're fun. I've been to two. I've been to like a smaller one, and then I've been to one bigger one. Both when I was younger, when I was a kid, but they are fun. And I went through a Mighty Ducks era when I was younger. This is aging me probably here. An old like movies. And so I actually really wanted to play hockey, but it was too expensive for my family. So I never got to. But I love that hockey is making its way through Bookstagram.
Yeah. I like sports romance because I used to play volleyball and soccer. Okay. So I've always been active, and I used to do theater in high school and dance. Then I was in the chorus. I'm always like an active person. So that's why sports romance, I think it's why I really, really like it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you actually answered one of my questions, which was one of your favorite genres.
Oh, okay, great.
Do you have any sports book recommendations for anyone who wants to jump into that?
Well, I'm reading the series of I don't remember the name of the series, but it's right now I'm on book 2, The Blind Side.
Okay.
It's football, so I'm already like a little bit into it. Oh, wait, here.
Nice. Yeah.
I also liked I haven't read this whole series. I think I'm going to go to book 3 of the F1 Formula.
Okay, that one sounds interesting.
Yeah. Because it's really I got into because I was like I haven't seen books about F1 Formula, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. So I'm also reading that one. I'm going to be on the 3rd book.
Okay.
Icebreaker. I'm currently reading it as well. I read a couple of books at the same time.
Right. I usually do too. I'm having a tough year, but I usually do too. It's fun that way.
Yeah. Because I don't know. People's like, why do you read? How can you keep the plot? I was like, I don't know, but because sometimes I get mad at one book, so I just start another one, and then I
take a break.
So I take mini breaks, and I just start other books.
Yeah, I understand that. Like if one like makes you angry, then you're like, I need a break from you, so I'm gonna go read something maybe a little more happy or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are awesome recommendations because I haven't quite made the leap into sports romance. Now, I read like a few prior to like Bookstagram and stuff like that. But once I started Bookstagram, I was like strictly fantasy and sci-fi. So I'm excited that it's coming around and to get all the recommendations so that once I'm out of my reading slump, I can dive into that.
Yeah, I started in fantasy as well and sci-fi. It was literally most of my books are fantasy, but then I just started to get into the romance and then the sports romance, and then I just been going from there.
It goes from there. It does. Yeah. It's kind of like there is kind of like a tier.
Yeah.
Well, I also So you talked about how long you've been on, and what kind of made you want to join? I think you talked about that a little bit, that you kind of just started maybe for yourself.
Yeah, because COVID was like, does I'm an introvert person, but I also like to go out with my friends and whatnot.
Right.
So I was really bored at home. I wasn't. I didn't used to read like at all. I didn't like to read because I
Okay.
got bored easily. So I just
Yep.
didn't even try. But then in COVID, well, I read Wattpad, if that counts.
Yep.
When
Yeah.
I was like in high school, I read Wattpad.
Yep.
That's for sure. But then COVID hit and I was getting bored. And then I started reading again Wattpad, and then I just got into other books, and that's how I just started it. So I wasn't
Right.
much of a reader at all.
Gotcha. And now
Yeah.
you are.
And now
Now you
I am. Now
sound
I have plenty
yeah.
books.
Well, and it is fun when you find the community too. I think that gives it more of the social aspect of, reading and talking to people about books and stuff. Because I went through a period, like I was a reader when I was younger. Then I kind of wasn't in high school, kind of picked it up more in college. And so I think because I was more sociable and I had things going, and then I found books boring, kind of a thing.
Mm.
But then I don't know, maybe it's also getting a little bit older. You start enjoying
Yeah, definitely.
around for a
For
while.
sure.
um, but that's awesome. So I'm definitely glad that you are a part of the community. I'm glad. I think we kind of got to know each other. We're in a couple groups together, or a group, like
Yeah,
a
in an engagement group. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's kind of where we met. And I love your Bookstagram account. If you
Thanks.
love aesthetic Bookstagram, then definitely give her a follow, because hers is beautiful. Um,
Thank you.
you do such a great job. Do you enjoy like taking the photos and coming up with the questions and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a notebook that is for Bookstagram planning.
Oh,
Like
nice.
I'm a planner, so I have a notebook just for that. I write down the captions, the ideas that I have, reels. If I have real ideas, I write them down, what kind of books I'm gonna use, all of that. I just write
That's
it
perfect.
down.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I need
I
to
love
take some notes from you.
Yeah.
I'm like super spontaneous about everything. Even when I try to plan it, it ends up being like, I'll do that one another time.
Oh no. You can just write it down so you don't forget, and then you can
I
get back into that.
Yeah, I need to be better about that, because most of the time, like, I guess when it comes to maybe pictures or doing reels, I might set those up ahead of time. But what I'm
Mm.
gonna say is always a mystery. No one knows until I've said it.
That's awesome though. That's cool.
It can make it fun, and then sometimes I'm just like, what am I even saying? Just stop.
That's
Um,
awesome.
But I'm going to jump into the book that we read. I'm going
Yep.
to kind of just show it. So we picked out Violet Made of Thorns, and it's absolutely stunning. Even if you're not interested in reading, it's a beauty to have on your shelves.
Yes.
By Gina Chen. So there's the book, and it was definitely interesting. I feel like I haven't read a book like this in a very long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Because so it was definitely like more YA.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's categorized as that, but a lot of times I kind of went into this one knowing a little bit about it, but also blindly.
Yeah, me too. I was like because it was in my TBR, but then I gave you the list. Oh, these are my TBR, so let's see what we can choose. And then I was like, what is that book even about? It's in my TBR, but I don't remember. So
I think
I read what it's about, glanced at it, and just went into
right.
it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I knew for sure is that people who've read the Cruel Prince, which is one of my all-time favorite series, liked it. That was kind of like one of the
Okay.
things I saw. So I did definitely get some hints in there, and stuff. I think so. I don't. Have you read the Cruel Prince?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, then I won't make the comparisons too much, but there were some a little bit when it came to the enemies to lovers aspect, and then the having one a prince and one kind of like a stabby outcast kind of a person and stuff. So those are definitely some correlations, some ties in right there. So I'm going to ask you, how did you feel about the characters?
I loved her.
Yes.
I loved her because I feel like she was one of those characters that are very constant personality wise.
Yeah.
Because some books they change personality and it doesn't make sense. But with her, it's really constant. So that's really good. I at least I like it. And I liked her personality was a very strong one. And even though it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm looking out for myself and whatever. But I mean, sometimes you need to look out for yourself.
Right. So especially in the way especially in the way that she was kind of set up as like someone who came from lower class and stuff, and then made her way up into seer. She was a seer, and so she kind of knew she had to hold her ground. But then the prince is always telling her she needs to leave and needs to go. So of course she's gonna be like, like I'm gonna.
How dare you?
Yeah, I did like that too. She was you're right in the fact that she was super consistent. There wasn't, even in the end, it didn't, even though there was like their dynamic kind of changed, she still was like,
she remained her.
Like that kind of a thing. And so the world building, I did appreciate the world building. I thought there'd be a little bit more. Oh, I'm going to show the map a little bit. So I don't know about you, but are you like a big map? Do you like when there's a map in a book?
Yes, but mine doesn't have a map because it's oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, but it's literally just the sun capital. I thought so. I didn't study it at first. I went back after I was reading and was like trying to figure out. So they talk about all these different like areas of the kingdom. Or the different kingdoms or something. Now I'm forgetting. And so I thought the map was going to have those, but it's the sun capital itself and the different placements. So it was still really cool, and that map is gorgeous. But you said you didn't have a map on yours?
No, because I have two.
Oh yeah.
Of it. So this is the one that I use for reading because it has the little tabs. I like it because it has the sprayed edges.
That's beautiful.
And so inside is like an art. Hold on. Let me just take it off. It has this one.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then at the back is him.
Oh, nice. That's like exactly how I pictured him too.
Yes, I saw it. I was like, oh my God, this man is so gorgeous.
Like very much Prince Charming, because they talk about that.
I really, because I don't know about people, but redheads are just like I love redheads. So when I saw it, I was like, yes. And this other doesn't, it has this.
Oh, that's pretty too. I like that.
Yeah. But, and the cover.
Oh, nice. Yep. You have some pretty.
And on the inside, you have this.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, the mask. I love it.
So I like both versions because I like that they did different scenes because they have the scene of the masquerade, the ball thingy, and then they have here. So I liked it that they didn't use the same one. So it was a good thing.
Yeah. No, you got some pretty additions. That's what I've been like slacking on. See, I love sprayed edges. They're up here mostly.
Oh, okay.
But I'm such a paperback lover. I just like the way that, everyone's always like,
I love paperback as well, but sometimes the hardbacks just give you some feels.
They do. Well, and they're awesome to put on your shelves, and like the sprayed edges. And then I love special dust jackets. Those.
Yes, that's what I like about the hardbacks. But I'm more of a paperback as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's just something about cozying up with a paperback in your hands.
I don't know if this is a pet peeve for people, but I like to crack the spine.
I do too, actually. I think I did pretty good. You can't, there's no crack.
Oh yeah, no, you can barely see it.
But I actually have I love the aesthetic of it. So like I've got some older books at the top of my shelf, and I actually went to a thrift store and bought like Lord of the Rings, but they're like the old one, like they have the creases and the cracks, and I think it's just pretty.
I feel like it tells a story.
It does.
So I like it.
Yeah. And you can have a nice fresh one and a cracked one.
Yes, for sure. Oh my God.
Okay, so back to the story. So would you say that your favorite character then was Violet?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I loved her. I actually liked both of them. I thought Cyrus was, again, very steady in his way of, even when he's like tortured and becoming a beast, spoiler alert, sorry. Even when that is, I'll put a little announcement that there's like spoilers in there, but how can you not? That was one of my favorite parts, actually, was when he was becoming the beast and when that was happening, and that whole scene was super intense and really well written. But
I really liked when she stabbed him.
Yeah, that whole scene.
I didn't thought she was gonna do it, but then it goes with her personality. Again, it goes with her personality. So I was like, oh my gosh, she actually stabbed him. And he was also in shock that she stabbed him. So that was amazing. I really liked that part.
It was. And then the whole part too, where like her blood could kind of bring out the thorns. I thought that was interesting as well. I don't know if I maybe was reading too fast, but I almost felt like it could have went it more in depth on why. And maybe that'll come out in more in book. There's going to be a book 2. There's no date, I don't think yet, but
what I read that she said that there's not going to be a book 2, at least for now.
Okay. Yeah, because there's no date.
Because halfway through it, I was like, oh, is this going to have a second book, or is this a standalone? So I Googled it, and then in Goodreads, it said that it had book 2. So I was scrolling down the comments, and someone said, oh, she actually said that for now, at least for now, she's not going to have a book 2. So it should be read as a standalone. And I was like, no. Because that means that
I mean, it kind of does have an okay ending for like you're not really left on a cliffhanger or anything, so I suppose that's okay. I did like that very last little, it was only like a page and a half or something, but that this part at the end, the bride, almost like her just telling like a quick fairy tale kind of a thing to end and wrap things up. I thought that was very, very nice. And then, so I also liked Camille. Camilla?
Yeah. I liked her at first, and then I was like, you're so annoying. Like, what is wrong with you?
And that's what I kind of liked about her, though. I kind of liked that she was like that bratty princess.
Yeah.
But she was also very like, because she was probably like took that used to getting what I want kind of attitude. She was so adamant and not afraid to be like, this person's a witch. This person is.
Yes, that I liked about her. That's why, because I think it was when they discovered about Nadia, or however you pronounce that name. Right. And she was like, because she thought she was prettier. And then Violet tells her like, oh, tell her that she's pretty. And Nadia just tells her, oh, you're so pretty. And it was like, why, girl?
Right. I know. But I think that's why I liked her, though, is because she was like bratty, but not afraid to just not trying to hide it. Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of like own, and that each character was kind of like that. They were who they were. And that was kind of fun and interesting to me, because you're right. Sometimes, and that's character arcs for you too. People will change at the end of the books. And stuff, but so what about the Dante thing? How did that make you feel?
Like there was a time in the book that I said, I feel like, because you know that the fate, or I don't know, it was the fate or the voice, the witch thing, told her that they will betray you. So I was like, okay, so several people are going to betray her. So that's when I thought maybe Dante is one of those that will betray her. But I feel like he was so, I don't know, I really liked him. And then at the end, but at the same time, he did what he did. But it's like, I'm still loyal to you. You're my friend. Because he said like, I'm sorry, Your Highness. And then he just left.
That was the most part. Yeah. was
Yes.
was the fact that like he did. So I kind of saw he was too cinnamon roll for all the other harsh characters. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for real.
Yeah, he was too good. So I was like, he's gonna be a betrayer. He's gonna do something. I had a
Yeah.
feeling. Obviously, had no idea what to expect.
I didn't
So
expect what he did. I didn't
right.
expect that
No,
at
taking
all.
it like that. That was definitely cruel prince kind of stuff there. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that kind of happened. And but the part where then he steps backwards, like I could vision it in my head, like a movie where he steps backwards and then like says what he says and just
And
falls.
disappears.
Yeah.
That was so epic. I literally imagined the whole scene and him just
Right.
disappearing, like, nope, I was never here.
I know I never did what it wasn't me. Yeah, I'm just like a wraith or a ghost or whatever.
For
It was
real.
wild. Yeah. That was another. So the beast changing part, and then that was definitely two of my favorite parts.
I really liked that he still, because he changed back into human after the blood thing and whatever, but then at the end we noticed that he's still not cured completely,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, so this is not the end of it.
Right. Well, and that's why there's like a lean to into a possible book too. But I think with that last little Briar's Bride kind of thing, it can't hold itself as a standalone for sure. But I love that because then there was that quote where it's like he needs me and I need him kind of
Yeah.
thing. So like so as much as they're always gonna butt heads, they through the love and the hate, they need each other.
Yeah, for real. And there was like at the beginning that because when he came back from tour or whatever it is he was doing, that she sees him for the first time, she's like, oh, I miss these banters. Like, girl, you like to fight with him. Like,
yeah, yep. Oh,
you
for
can't
sure.
tell me you hate him when you're just like, oh, missing these little banter moments with him. I
Right.
really like that.
Well, and I think that's kind of what they both kind of just enjoy that nitpick that they're neither one of them back down. Neither one of them are afraid to even like when it came to their love scenes and stuff, it always started with like, I'm stubborn enough to make this happen, you know? I'm
And I'm too
stubborn enough.
prideful to stop.
Yeah. So what did you think about the enemies to lovers? Where would you kind of put that on like a level for you? Do you like enemies to lovers?
Oh yeah, enemies to lover is top tier. This is the
Yeah.
best thing ever. I really liked it that their banter and because even though he liked her, like from the beginning, he liked her, but he still was very strong with her. So I really liked that he didn't just let his love for her derail him from what he wanted or the end goal. So I really like that.
Right.
And also with her, because she's like, nope, my way or the highway. So I
Right.
really like
There
that.
would have been, if it wasn't for him kind of like crossing the line, she's too stubborn. She would have never gone. She would have fought him until the end. Been like, this is
Yes,
who we are. We hate each other, you know?
for real. If he didn't do anything, not that romance between them would have never happened because she
No.
wasn't going to take that first step at all.
No way. And so it was cool to see him. So he did kind of change in the fact where once he kind of kissed her and then took the next step the next time, you saw him kind of getting softer for her. Like, of course, he
Yeah.
still threw in some cuts, but he was definitely getting more and more where he's like, I want you or whatever. You're my curse kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. You're my true love.
Yeah, yeah. My curse is to love you, that kind of stuff. And then like he would say like at the end, he's like, always, I've always loved you, you know?
That part really, I was like, oh my God, this man, yes, this is so beautiful. I really like that he said that to her.
Right. And that's what was fun about. So they're always saying, oh, he's the Prince Charming so much that that's what you envision. And, you know, at least I did in my head, a Prince Charming. And So it's kind of cool to then you get the Prince Charming, you know, because he's angry a lot in the beginning. He's mad, he's kind of stuck up, you know, that kind of stuff. But then you get that like sentimental, but he's a monster too now.
Yes.
So I love that.
You can see that switch of him of wanting to get rid of her, like hating on her, all the banter, and then it's like, oh well, let's just
right. So now
you can see that switch.
Yeah. And then so did you like how did you feel about the fates and the fairies and how that kind of all was part of the world building? Did you like that, or did you feel like it was like overwhelming, or
I didn't, because the fates were like, they fates told her that it was either him or her. Mm-hmm. But then I didn't see them involved in the whole prophecy thing. It was more the witch. So I didn't see that they wanted to get rid of him. It was just the witch. So I didn't kind of like that part, because the fates were just threatening her at the beginning, because then they just like disappear. And then when the time came that it was supposed to be at the end of the summer, nothing happened because it was all the witch. So I didn't see that.
Right. I almost felt like it was so in the beginning, I think there might have been too much play on the fairies and the fates, because then it kind of, how I took it, I don't know how you took it, you can let me know, was that it was the witch all along playing this game. Is that kind of how you took it, or do you think she took control afterwards?
I feel she took control, because I feel like the fates had a plan, and then this witch that we still don't know per se exactly who she is, just like decided to do what she wanted to do.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, that's what I love about books too, is everybody has their own, like, maybe you read something differently than how I read it, you know, took it or whatever. And stuff. And so I was here. So I'm such a world builder in my head. Maybe it's the writer in me. I'm not sure. But like I like attach myself sometimes to the background things like that, like the fates and the prophecies. I did think the prophecies were really cool and unique and well written and stuff. But I think I read it too much into it, where I think, did you think this was more of a romance than really fantasy and stuff? How do you feel about
that? In when we're talking about the prophecies, I felt like it was a bit too much romance. The prophecy part, because it all revolved around him and his true love. Like his future was going to be either whether your true love is going to save you or just ruin you. So I felt like it was more romancy, the prophecy, prophecy per se.
Yeah. Yep, that's how I felt too. And I think in the beginning I was like almost reading too much into it, like, and so I think it made it like, it made me feel like I had to like go back and read. That's what I mean by like I was checking the map and stuff, trying to figure all this stuff out. But then once I realized that, oh, this is more set like enemies to lovers and romantasy, you know, where it's romance fantasy. I was like, okay, now I'm along for the ride. I'm here. I can just relax and enjoy this. Yeah. So do you use like a 5-star rating? Did I lose you? Oh, did I lose you? Can you see
the 5-star?
Yeah. So do you use a 5-star rating, or do you kind of do your own rating?
I do a 5-star rating thing.
Gotcha. And what did you rate this book?
I think it would be a 4, honestly.
Yeah.
That's 4 or 4.5, because what I didn't like again was the thing about the face, that they were like involved at the beginning and then they just kind of disappeared, and then this witch came and it was like,
so that area there was a little confusing.
Yeah. But otherwise, the world building, and besides, we don't know the extent of her power because we never saw exactly how much she can do. So maybe in book 2 we can get that.
There was, yeah. So that's where it like is a good leeway into a book too, if there's gonna be, because it did almost give like a new prophecy right there at the end about
Yeah.
her powers, about how powerful she could be.
Yeah.
Really cool. Like I would definitely read a book too. I gave it 4 stars just because that's what Goodreads let you know. You can't do 0.5s.
Oh yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I think that's where, because the world building was really heavy in the beginning, but then almost got forgotten.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. It sure did. That's what I didn't like. I really liked at the beginning the whole seer, the fates, the fairies, and then the fairies. I felt like the fairies, they just used them for glamour, and
I
I
know.
thought the
Yeah.
fairies were gonna be like so much more. So I
Right.
kind of like didn't really feel that with the fairies and then the fates,
Yeah.
but then it
And the
all
way
kind
they
of like
were,
disappeared.
yeah, and the way they were talking about all these fields of fairy flowers or fey flowers and stuff, I thought that was going to come into a much bigger role as well. And so yeah, that's probably the only reason I gave it a 4 stars and not a
Yeah, me
5.
too.
Because otherwise the characters were awesome. I love them. The romance was really great for YA. It was top
Yeah.
notch. And definitely this, and that's what I figured. A lot of books like this, the last 100 pages is like you just want to keep going. You don't want to put it down. And it definitely did that for me. So, would you compare it to anything that you've read before?
I think I would compare it a little bit with I don't remember because I read it a long time ago, but the with Sorcery of Thorns. I don't know if you've read that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
So I think I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it has a little bit with the whole magic thing and the
Yeah.
prophecies.
Yep.
So that's the book that popped into my head when I was like reading it.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. I can see the connection, and I can see the connection between, so now I'm forgetting, but it's Margaret Robertson. Yes, I believe is the author of
Yeah.
Sorcery of Thorns.
Yeah.
And Enchantment of Raisins.
I
Raven.
have that one, but I haven't read it yet.
So I love Sorcery of Thorns. I love her writing. But Enchantment of Ravens is just so good. Like top tier kind of standalone book. You know, when you
Okay.
go in knowing it's going to be a standalone, it just was a very poetic, quick read. I loved it. It was great. So I can kind of see the connection of her writing with Gina Chen's. I can see that. I think the kind of world building. Hers is, I mean, now I'm going back into the world building, but anyways, there is connections with the magic and stuff like that for sure. I can see it. And then, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about, Violet Maid of Thorns?
So I have like, what do you think? Because Dante did what he did, but we don't know exactly why. Because he said
Right.
that you need to be king no matter what. But I feel like there's more to just him wanting him to be king, because he was going to be king sooner or later.
Yeah.
So why king now immediately that you had to do what you did? I feel like there's much more, and I need to know. That's why I need a book too, because I need to know.
I'm hoping so. It is weird that there's not. I definitely, right when I finished it, I looked on Goodreads after I did my star thing or whatever. I went, and that's why I was like, oh, cool, there is a book too. But then I even was like, okay, got to know when is it coming out. But there wasn't. So I'm crossing my fingers there will be. But
Hopefully.
I agree. It almost felt like a plot hole in a way where.
Yeah, there's so many questions still, because the witch is also like wandering around.
Yeah, she's just kind of like stuck somewhere, or like that was kind of weird as well, right? Where she just kind of went away.
Yeah, she was disappear, maybe plotting some other evil plan, but we don't know exactly where is she, what she's going to do now, because things change between her and Cyrus. So what is she going to do now to get what she wants? And then we have the Dante thing, and now we have the the wedding, of course, because I feel
Right,
like that's going to be because I don't feel like people are going to accept her after everything that happened.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another problem.
Exactly. And then with the whole witch thing too, it's like she kind of was like, can't you tell we're connected? We're sisters. Forget the fates. Like, we're better. We were more like gods, you know, like that kind of stuff. So it's like, I kind of want that story to flesh out more, you know, that little their connection. Who are these seers really? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nadia
is another one that she kind of disappeared.
Who was it?
Nadia.
Oh yeah, I know. That's right.
She kind of like disappeared as well.
Yeah, because the last we see her was in the fight, right? The bra at the wedding.
We saw her before when she went to Violet for a reading because she was like nervous about the wedding. But we didn't see her because she was all the time with Camille, but she never came out and we didn't know what happened before. So that was the last time we knew about her, was when she went to Violet to get her future scene to see what happened at the wedding.
Yeah, well, and that's why maybe I got too caught up in like everything that was going on, because there was a lot. I love the Beast part. I love the outing of the king. That was crazy with Dante. And stuff, but there was a lot that's like, we need a book 2 to wrap things up. We need more answers.
At first I also thought that Nadia was going to be a traitor. Yeah. Like this was all like a plot of being this innocent person. Oh my God, they're making me do this. Maybe she is, because again, we don't know what happened to her. So maybe she was that. So that's another answer that I need.
So do you have any predictions if there is a book 2? Any thoughts where you think it's going to go?
I honestly don't. Like in the top of my head, I will have to like think through to see what can I expect of book 2, because I have, like I said, I have so many questions, and then I was like, I don't know where this could lead.
Right. I think the only one for me is I could see kind of an evil Violet coming out, but like she kept talking about villain, you know, but like the kind of evil that would be good for the realm, good for make some good changes. Because that was the other thing they talked about. There's a war. It's like already kind of started and stuff like that, even though they're getting married. And then what if Dante is alive still? Like, what if he's like with the witch or something? You know what I mean? Because nobody said
think he's with the witch. I feel like he's around there doing whatever it is, but I don't think he's on the witch's side though.
Okay.
Because he wanted Cyrus to be king and the witch wanted him dead. So I don't think they're in complot per se. But yeah, I do feel like we're going to, if there's a book 2, hopefully, that we're going to see I think we're going to see a Violet fighting between her evil side and her good side. So I think we're going to find that battle between herself. And that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be really cool, that battle between her.
So too. I think that could be definitely interesting. I'm always here for a hero becoming a villain plot. That's like one of my favorite things. But like when it's in a good way, not so much when it's more like morally gray, I guess I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that when it's like better for the main characters, for someone to go evil. And I think she'd be very good at that. I think she'd be very good at just like honing her powers and being stronger to save people, to save those
for real.
And for herself.
Make sacrifices, but they're for the greater good.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. And I like that I do like that too. So I like that there was 2 kind of like, obviously Violet is the main character. It's obviously in the title. But Cyrus he could have easily overshadowed with the romance part and everything. But I love that she was there was no overshadowing her with her personality, you know?
Yeah.
She didn't get lost or anything because of the romance. She would definitely be a great going into book 2 person that you would not like, you'd want to follow. You'd be like, this is awesome. Keep going. Keep being a badass, you know?
Yes, I totally agree. I think she would be a great leader because she's seen both sides of the coin. So I feel like she'll go to the right path, even though in the middle there's some things that she has to do, but it's for the greater good.
Yeah. Yep. So before we completely close on this, would you recommend this book? And who would you recommend?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I would recommend it.
Yeah. And would you recommend it to fantasy lovers or just anyone looking for a quick read or enemies to lovers?
I would recommend it because at the beginning we see a lot of the fantasy, but then it kind of blurs, and then at the end we get fantasy. So I would recommend them more to enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
Per se, than full on fantasy.
Right. I think I would too. I think if someone was looking for like a YA romance, I would 100. This would be top list for me to recommend. But if they're just looking for the fantasy aspect, then I'd be like, maybe I would bring it. I would maybe bring it up, but not be like this. You're also gonna get romance, and watch out for some things being like unanswered.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and that's all I have to say about the book. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about, Bookstagram wise?
I don't think so. Not that it pops into my head.
Right.
I think we covered everything that I wanted to say about the book per se, so I'm good with that part. I don't know if you have other questions about not the book. I'm answering them.
Let me check my. Oh, I guess I had one more kind of about the book, kind of about just Bookstagram in general. So what made you add this book to your TBR? What was it? Just are you a cover person? Does a cover grab you, or was it recommended to you?
I'm not very much with the covers because I've seen a lot of covers and then I read the synopsis and it's like, no, not for me. So I don't go for covers. But I saw it a lot on Bookstagram and people saying so much great things about it. I was like, I need to check this book out. And I read what it's about and I liked it. And these books that I have, they gave it to me because I was subscribed on Fairy Loot.
Yeah.
So it was the books of the book of the month. So I was like, oh great, because I wanted to read it. So many people talking about it. And it's like perfect.
It was kind of one of those books that kind of blew up when it first came out.
That's why it was so weird to me when she said there's not going to be a book 2 for now, because I thought I got a lot of I saw it a lot on Bookstagram.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I agree. It was because I added it to my TBR almost instantly because with people comparing it to The Cruel Prince, and I think I read a couple of reviews and stuff like that, and so I remember adding it instantly. So when you brought it up, I was like, yeah, I do have that one on my TBR. I hadn't bought it yet, but gave me an excuse to go buy a book. So thank you for that.
Wow, well, that's 2 for 1. We got it.
Great. But otherwise, I think that's all I had for you. And I absolutely loved having you on. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is like the first time I've been on a podcast, and honestly, I love this. So if you need another buddy read, I'm here for you.
No, we definitely will. Maybe a sports romance next time. That's definitely something we want to get back into or start again. So, in a couple, I'm going to take November for those of you watching. I am going to take November and December off because of holiday stuff and everything. Yeah. Then I'm going to come back with a whole new kind of enthusiasm, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
I will be looking for more buddy reads. That's kind of what I want to add more. I love talking to authors and it's such a great thing, but I want to add more buddy reads and Bookstagrammers and stuff to the schedule. So I would love to have you back on. thank you so much for wanting to be on and for having us read this book, because I'm not sure if I would have done it with my reading slump.
Oh, well then I got you out of a reading slump. You bought a new book, so that's great.
Yeah, see? Thank you. It's great to have Bookstagram friends.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight, and I appreciate you coming on, and it has been so much fun.